Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this AutoTrail Excel. It's a 2010 model based on the Fiat Ducato chassis. So what I'll do is I'll start you around underneath the bonnet here, show you what's going on under here, walk around the outside of the vehicle, and then we'll get inside and I'll show you what's going on in there as well. So over on the left hand side, on this particular age of cab, they do set everything out nice and easily over on the left hand side here. So you've got your washer fluid, power steering fluid, engine coolant, brake fluid, and engine oil. The engine oil dipstick is this one just here, hence the little gap in the top just here. And so all of your sort of fluid bits and pieces are all left of the engine, so you've got really good access to all of those. These two big pipes on the top just here are both to do with your air conditioning. You've got the air conditioning information just here, so you've got 0.550 grams of gas that needs to go into that system. You've got Fiat 249 is the paint colour for the vehicle, which is the white colour that you can see all the way around. 3.3 tonnes is the weight of the vehicle, so you can basically drive this on any car licence. You know, it's your standard weight there, under 3.5 tonnes. Over on the right, we've got the air filter, sits inside this box just here. And we've got a couple of things I need to show you. So in this particular age of cab, the engine battery itself sits under the floor, under this cover. So if you want to jump start the vehicle, to save you having to take all of that apart, you know, on the side of the road or wherever you might be, Fiat thought about that and gave you a couple of points that you can jump start the vehicle from under the bonnet. So under this little flap just here, you can see there's a plus symbol. This is the positive terminal for the engine battery, so it runs directly to the positive of the engine battery. So your positive goes on there and your negative goes on just here, so it does stay there only for jump start. So positive and negative just there, so you can jump start it from under the bonnet nice and easy. So inside the passenger door, we've got the bonnet release handle just up here on the left hand side. You got the jack and wheel brace kit in this little unit under the passenger seat. Both front seats are swiveling, so you've got these little handles here on the sides, which are the original Fiat seats, and that will allow you to swivel these seats all the way around. Just here behind this little flap is your diesel filling point as well. You will need your ignition key to get that to open up, but yeah, that's it. So the first locker that we get to is the gas locker. So in the gas locker itself, at the moment we've got one new, or well, not new, but full propane bottle. So we've got a 6 kilo propane in here at the moment. To turn the bottle on, we go anti-clockwise around to the left, and to turn it off, we go all the way down clockwise to the right. Looks like we've replaced this pigtail as well. Yep, 2024 on the pigtail here, so you've got till 29 to replace that. And everything else on the actual regulator itself, this stuff here, this is all to do with our testing purposes, so you haven't got to do anything with that whatsoever. Make sure that you turn the gas off before you start driving, if I didn't mention that already. Right, so the side of the van's a bit dirty at the moment because we've had it tucked away underneath our canopy, so it's going to have a good wash off before customer collects. A couple of things on the AutoTrails that I always like to point out. So you will notice that you've got these little channels up here on the actual top of the van. Now this is where the majority of the water is going to run off. So that's where the water is going to run off the top of off the roof to stop it from pooling up there. The issue with a lot of the vehicles that don't have those little cutouts on is that the water will pool up on the roof and end up getting into your skylights. So they started introducing this kind of layout here so that it shouldn't do that. You've got a locker on the near side here at the back, which is basically just a storage locker. There's nothing in there to show at the moment. Reversing camera is up there at the top of the vehicle, so you can see there looking straight down, and you've got a little LED lights on the side of it so that it will shine up at night time as well. So that is up there, all working really nicely. So at the back of the van as well, you will notice a little exhaust down here blowing out a little bit of sort of bluey smoke. Now that is completely normal because that is your, essentially on this particular vehicle, you've got a diesel powered hot and cold water system and heating system. So if you have any of that on, which I'll show you how to use in a minute, you will see a little bit of smoke coming out from that little vent just there. The more you use it, by the way, the less smoke you'll have coming out through that. It's just like a diesel vehicle. The more you drive a diesel vehicle, the less smoke and sort of smells you have coming out of it. So it's completely normal. So the actual layout and the model is a 590 EK, meaning end kitchen, which I will run you through the layout and how it all works in just a minute, but I'll carry on around the outside for now. So you've got obviously all the windows here, all in nice condition. Can't see any sort of big cracks or splits or anything nasty about those windows at all looking very nice, and you can see there the water running down from that point up there. Just thought I'd point that out just in case you didn't know what those little cutouts were for. So the toilet cassette itself is this one just here. So to remove the toilet cassette, it's really easy. Lift up on the little orange handle just here, and you'll then be able to take the cassette out. Once you've got it to that point there, you can literally just take it all the way out and take it off to wherever you need to go to. We'll also say that this is one of the sort of ones that you can pull this little handle out here, and you'll notice that it has got a set of wheels on the back of it, so you can wheel it along. Makes it a little bit easier than carrying it 10 litres full. To empty it out, which is the most important part, is you've got this little handle just here which spins around, and you can empty it from this point just here. When you're emptying it out, you should hold down this little orange button at the back, and that'll basically stop any pressure from building up inside of that unit. Once you've emptied it out, a little bit of blue fluid goes back inside, swish it around, and then push it all the way back in, and make sure that little bit there goes over that lip. So directly underneath that, we've got your freshwater drain off point. So if you wanted to drain out your fresh water, you got that one just there. You literally just twist that 180 and it will drain all the way out. To the right of the toilet cassette locker here, we've got the freshwater filling point. So that has got a lock on it, so it's locked at the moment. It's spinning around, but it won't allow me to take it out, so that means it's locked. If it was unlocked, you would push in and round to the left and it would stop, and then it will allow you to actually take the actual cover off. So if it's just spinning, it means it's locked. If it doesn't spin, it's unlocked. We've got the electric hookup point just here as well. So if you have got access to an electric hookup cable, it's really handy to have that plugged in. Having the electric hookup plugged in means that you don't have to worry about your leisure battery's voltage whatsoever. It means that you can essentially leave that plugged in and use whatever you want inside the back of the van for as long as you want, and your leisure battery's voltage won't dip down. It also means that when you have that plugged in, you'll have power going to any of your mains powered appliances and 3-point sockets, like your household sockets. So that will all be powered from that one unit there. So having that plugged in is a really nice thing to have if you have the option of that. So the leisure battery itself sits underneath this little black cover here inside this offside locker. So if you did need to get access to the leisure battery, you've got it just there. Really, really nice and easy to get to. And just below that, we've got your wastewater drain off point. So if you wanted to drain out your wastewater, that's in the closed position and that's in the open position. So at the moment, the wastewater is empty. Other than that, that is about it really for the outside of the vehicle. What I'll do is I'll just hop in the cab and show you what we've got going on in here as well. So the actual cab itself on this particular vehicle is a really nice high spec. I'll just clip this little bit back on there. So you've got lots and lots of things that have been fitted from new. So you've got the original factory fitted blackout blinds for the front windscreen and for the side windows, which come across just literally by pulling on these little handles here. You do need to squeeze the two buttons together before it will release itself, otherwise you will break it. Same goes for all of those all the way around. The one at the front is slightly different in the sense that they meet in the middle to actually lock up. So you've got a little magnetic strip running all the way down it, and they'll meet together in the middle to stay locked. The reversing camera screen is this one just here that says Viva on it. And I was just using that a minute ago and it works really nicely. I think actually you have the option of using it there or on the little screen up here as well. So you've got that option there. So the rest of the cab, you've got another optional extra. You've got the cruise control stalk just here. So to use the cruise control, you literally just turn it on and off, as you can see there, and then you can adjust your speeds like so. You can resume from pressing the button on the left hand side, and that's about it really, nice and easy. So the screen in the middle just there is nice and easy to use. You've got a little screen in the middle of it, which is basically, you know, your reversing camera or your stereo controls and all that kind of stuff there. And below that, we've also got the air conditioning switch from there as well. Your heater controls are either side of the air conditioning switch there, and you've got your hazard warning lights from that little button there at the bottom. You can lock and unlock the cab from these two buttons here as well. So if you did want to lock and unlock it without the key in your hand in the cab, you can do so just from there. But other than that, the rest of it is all pretty self-explanatory really. It's nice and easy to use. Yeah, there we go. So what I'll do is I will jump into the back of the van. Just close the door too. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice when you get into the actual van itself is that you've got the control panel up here above the door, a couple of light switches, and another sort of control unit on the left hand side. Now this one on the left hand side I'll run you through in a minute. This is your heating and hot water system, that diesel unit that I was saying about on the outside, and that's a Webasto system. But the first thing I'll run you through is going to be the control panel. So this is an AutoTrail Sergeant EC100 control panel, which by the way links up directly to this Sergeant EC225 power supply unit over in the corner. So super easy how to use this entire system, but I will run you through it first. So we've got a main power on and off switch on the left. You've then got a water pump switch just there and an auxiliary power switch. So when you turn the water pump switch on, you will then have the option of using the water at the taps, cold and hot. All right, I'm just going to open up one of these skylights here. Right, so having the water pump switch turned on, as I said, you'll then be able to use your water. Now, without stating the obvious too much, you do obviously have to make sure that you've got water in the fresh tank, which you do by pressing on this button just here, and it will then show us the fresh water level. So we've got about a quarter of a tank of fresh water. We'll then be able to use the tap, you know, put the pump on there, and then you can go ahead and use it however you want. The other thing that I need to mention about that is that your boiler needs filling up almost separately, but by doing a very easy and straightforward thing. So once you've checked that you've got water in your fresh tank and you've turned your water pump switch on, as I said, you'll then be able to draw the water through, but you do need to make sure that you double check that it's coming through really nicely without coughing and spluttering all over the place on the hot side of the tap. So doing that and making sure that the water's coming through nice and clearly on the hot side of the tap proves to you that the boiler is full up of water. If the boiler wasn't full of water, you would get absolutely nothing coming through apart from coughing and spluttering and a little bit of air until it was full. So it's really important that you allow that to just come through and wait for it to come through nice and clearly, and then you can go ahead and use the boiler however you want to. So really straightforward on that. That's just a bit of a fail-safe thing to do. It's something that I would always recommend checking just before you start going ahead and diving into using the boiler controls. Just check that you've got water in the boiler by doing that. Basically, as long as you turn the water pump on and you've got water coming through hot and cold, you can turn the tap off and the pump turns itself off afterwards. You're good to go. So the aux button is probably going to be powering. I say probably because sometimes they do power slightly different things. Auxiliary power is normally for things like any additional sockets like these ones, potentially the power for the Vision Plus TV aerial booster, maybe the power to the TV over here. So that is one of those things that you will just kind of have to have a little play with, and if you find that something isn't coming on, try turning on the aux power switch. But if I was you, to be completely honest, I would just come into the van and turn all three of these on, and then you're good to go. The other 4 switches just here, I've shown you one of them already, which is this freshwater level indicator one. You've also got a wastewater level indicator on the right, which is showing us empty, which is obviously correct. We've then got a leisure battery voltage indicator, so we've got half the power in our leisure battery, and we've also got a vehicle battery voltage indicator as well. So all the time that you're in the back end of the vehicle and you're using 12-volt power, you do need to make sure that you're using it on the correct battery. So what I mean by that is that you're using power off of the leisure battery, which is this one just here that I've got selected. If I was to turn over to the vehicle battery and have this little light here above the vehicle battery one selected, what it means is any 12-volt power, like lights and ignition and the heater and whatever else, the pump, all that sort of stuff, is now being powered from the engine battery. So hopefully, for pretty obvious reasons, you shouldn't be using the vehicle's battery to power the back end of the vehicle, because, you know, it's going to end up draining your engine battery out and you'll be stuck wherever you are. So it's really important that if you are going to be using the back end of the van, to switch over to leisure whenever you're doing so. Once you've done that, you can then go ahead and use anything you like in the vehicle, as long as you keep your eye on that leisure battery's voltage. So from there, what I will do is I will just show you, I'll tell you what, whilst we're on that sort of topic of the water and all that, I'll run you through the boiler system here. So as I said, this is a diesel powered Webasto diesel heating and hot water system. So I really like these little systems. I think they're really easy to use, nice and simple. You've essentially got off over on the left hand side just here. The on and off status light will go out after a few minutes of it cooling itself down. All right, just so that you know that. So you've essentially got 40 degrees of hot water or 70 degrees of hot water. That's up there in your summer setting, so that's hot water only. You've also got heating only or heating and hot water. Now the heating, you've got a little gauge here on the right hand side, which is basically just low and high for the heating. And that's it. That really is it. So you've got your winter setting over on the right hand side, either one of these two, whether you want just heating or heating and hot water. And you've got your summer setting up here, so that's hot water only. So for the time being, because it's quite a warm day, I don't actually want the heating to be on whatsoever, so I've selected one of the summer settings, either at 40 or 70. So I've done that. I can now just go ahead and wait for the water to warm up. It'll be about half an hour or so. Although saying that, I've had the hot water on, for 20 minutes now, so just before the video started. And yeah, it's pretty hot already. So to be honest, you're looking at more like 20-25 minutes before that starts getting really nice and warm. Okay, so really simple how to use it, really simple. You've got two other little bits on here as well. So you've got this one here on the left hand side, which is basically your boiler drain off point. So if you go down there, it will drain all the water out from inside the boiler. And you've got a winter setting just there, so if you were going to leave it over winter, you would leave it in that winter setting to stop anything from freezing up. But to be honest, other than that, that is about it. It's really nice and simple, and that's how you use it. As I say, that on and off symbol will go off as soon as that heater cools itself down and turns the fan off. So on the door itself, you've got a window which you can open from just there, and because you've got a window on there, you have also got the fly screen and the blackout blind. Okay, so that is what that is just there. Towards the back of the van, as I said, it's an EK, which is an end kitchen. If I just work out where the switch is for that light. Of course, they always hide them in places. That'd be the one there. So in the back end of the van, we've got the sink over on the left hand side, and we've got the 3-burner hob. So to light any one of these up, just like in a household, you just push in and round to the left on whichever one you want to light up. Okay, really nice and easy on that. I don't really tend to run through those very much, to be fair, because it's just literally a 3-burner hob. There's nothing to it. You have also got the spin flow oven and grill. So if I'm honest, it looks like it's never been used. A lot of these don't get used, to be fair, inside the motorhomes. So you've got a switch just here, which is for your ignition. So to light up the oven, we're going to go in and round to the left on here and press in on the igniter. See that light straight up. And then the same, but to the right for the grill. Little tip with the grills, if you want to double check that it's all definitely working properly, look into the bottom of the actual oven and it will show you the top there. Back to the middle. And that is that. Underneath here, nothing to show you. Water pump sits at the bottom of that locker there. And that is about it, really. So, just pop these two lids down. So in the bathroom, we have literally got a, I'll just jump in here. The sink just down here pulls out and hooks in up here to use as a shower, so you can use it as a sink or a shower. You have got a full-size shower screen that comes all the way across here to separate this shower unit. The toilet is normally the only part that I actually spend any time running through, because the shower and the sink is just literally hot and cold taps. Really, really easy. But the toilet works. It's just as easy to use, but I will just run you through how to use it. So you've got a big blue button up here that says Thetford on it. And as you can see, that is your flush fluid. So that will pump around the bowl there and work as the flush. Once you've got the water in there, or whatever it is in there, you push this to the right and it will drain whatever's inside the bowl there into the cassette, and make sure that you put it back. And that is it. That is genuinely all you have to do to use that toilet. So use the toilet, use your flush, and then open it up and drain it into the cassette. You should get a little symbol coming up on this little unit here telling you when the cassette needs to be emptied. But obviously you can see through the little hole there as you open it as well. But yeah, there you go. So we've then got the fridge. So this is a 3-way Dometic fridge. So as most people can work out, when I say 3-way, I mean at three different energies there in order to actually get the fridge cold. So where it is at the moment, up towards the top, is on our gas setting. So essentially at the moment, there's a little gas flame on the back of the fridge, which is currently running and just cooling the fridge down via the ammonia and all the stuff that's inside the back of it, the cooling unit. The gas is probably the quickest way to get the fridge cold, so that will still take about 3 hours or so to get fully cold, but it's probably the quickest, the most efficient way of getting it cold. The next one, the 240 volt, obviously there's no light on it at the moment because I haven't got the hookup plugged in, but that is for when you're hooked up on the mains, and that will get the fridge cold as well. That's just literally by using the 240 volt power. It'll draw about 1 amp of power, and it will get cold in a sort of similar time to the gas. So they're your two main ways of getting the fridge cold. The bottom one here, the 12 volt, the one that's got a little battery symbol on it, is only for keeping the temperature inside the fridge whilst you're driving. So that's what's going to keep the fridge cold as you drive. And the reason that I say that, and the reason that I say that it's not going to get the fridge cold by itself, is that the 12 volt element is not powerful enough to get the fridge cold from hot. You will be there with the engine running, because obviously it only works when the engine's running as well. It won't do anything at all until you start the engine up. But you will be sat there with the engine running and that fridge on 12 volt for probably days before that will actually get cold. So that's obviously not doable. So you do need to make sure that, say for example, if you're going to go on holiday tomorrow morning, I would recommend that you either go out to the van the night before and light it up on gas, or if you prefer, if you have access to a hookup cable in the van, leave the van hooked up on the mains overnight, which is also a good thing to get that leisure battery nice and topped up, and leave it on the mains overnight so that it's cold by the morning. And all you have to do is switch over to 12 volt just for once you drive, And what it'll do is it will just take a little bit of power from the engine whilst it's running, from a couple of cables that literally run to it, and it will just keep the fridge cold as you drive. That's all that 12-volt one there is for. When you get to the campsite, literally just switch back over to one of the other two, either the gas or the mains, and yeah, that's it. Nice and easy. So that is it for all the appliances, I think. Inside this wardrobe, you'll notice you've got a big brown folder here, which is all of your paperwork for the actual vehicle itself. You've got the carpet just there as well, which has been rolled up, hoovered and rolled up. A couple of little bits that have been left over by a previous owner, but not much else to comment on in there really. Just put that across. So you have got to tell you there, to be fair, on the habitation checks, we don't run through and sort of use the TVs normally. It's not really something that's been fitted from new, so it's not something that's part of a habitation check, but I've got no reason to think that it doesn't work. All there, all plugged in, lights on, so it should be good. Inside this locker, so this is probably the most important locker when it comes to the sort of electric parts of the vehicle. So I'll start over here on the power supply unit. So the power supply unit is basically what takes all of the power and diverts it off and splits it around the vehicle. So all of the mains powered appliances run from here, and the hookup goes directly to here. All of your 12-volt stuff goes into here because you've got all of your 12-volt fuses down here as well. So it's a really important part. So below each one of these little trip switches, you have got something that says what they do. So you've got the main RCD, that's your main trip switch. You've got the sockets and hob, heater, extra sockets, fridge, boiler and charger. So if any one of those specific ones there go down, you can have a pretty good idea of what's caused it. Same goes for if you find that you can't get something to work, you can double check it by just checking that the trip switch for it is up. You've got a big switch on the top there that says charger. That's because the charger itself for your main battery sits inside this unit. So when you're hooked up on the mains, that light up there will be on. And if you want to turn the charger off for whatever reason, you can turn it off. These ones down here are more likely the ones that you're going to be looking at more often. Now again, the habitation check has just been done. There's nothing wrong with any of these at the moment. But if, for example, you come into the van one day and you can't get the pump to turn on, even though you've turned the switch on the control panel, you can have a little look in here and just find out which one does your water pump. So you've got this one here and the one next door. So you can double check those two fuses, and if they're no good, then just replace them. Now, obviously, you can come to us for any problems or any issues at all that you have. But if you are on holiday and we can't get to you, which, obviously we don't really come out to anybody. So if you were on holiday and you're a bit stuck, you can, if you want to, have a little look at those and check for yourself. But it's completely up to you. It's just that they lay it all out so easily that it's just, yeah, nice and easy to sort of diagnose things. If we had somebody come in with an issue with something 12-volt, we would be doing exactly the same thing. We just come in here and find out what fuse it does. And if that's the problem, then, you're good to go, really. So that's the power supply unit, really nicely laid out and easy to use. To the right of that, we have got your TV aerial itself. So this is an actual tilt and turn aerial. So you loosen this little nut off here, and then you can push the aerial up and turn it to wherever it needs to go to. You then got your signal booster or your aerial booster just here. So you can turn that on and off from that little switch there. Doesn't need to be on all the time. Below that, we've got these two units just here. This one on the right and this one on the left. They both are related to the same thing, which is your solar panel. So all the time that the solar panel is working, you will have a little light on this one that says charge. So that's just telling you that it is working. And we've also got two lights on this one, which say that both batteries are connected. So this solar panel that's up on the roof is charged both engine and leisure batteries. All right, so really, really simple on that. You don't have to do anything with those. You just leave them as they are and they'll just do their thing. Right, so there's no more appliances to run through. I don't think there's much else to actually show, to be completely honest. So what I'll do is I will end the video here, but if there's anything you think that I've missed out or anything you want going over again, just give us a shout or leave a comment, whatever you like. and we'll be sure to get back to you on it. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.